3, 2, 1.
Fox, a gray fox, the little old gray fox here in the state of Arizona, has a vitals area about the size of this part of my fist. All right, for a good vitals hit. That's a problem for me if I don't know my offset. They like to come in close, real fast, and real close, which means I need to know what my offsets are well before this thing happens, because they're going to come in, they're going to take a look, they're going to jet. I need to be able to make these kinds of hits. So hunting, competitive, combative, a lot of applications to be able to make this shot. Overall, marksmanship. Making excuses for not hitting where I actually wanted to hit is not how we want to start the day, right? I wanted to hit there, but I hit there, but don't worry, it's good enough. I don't want to play the good enough game, right? So if we have a small percentage hit, we can use our optic and just go up above. What are some other options? What reticle do you have in that? What is that? L-can. You got the donut of death in there? Just crosshairs? Okay. So, in his situation...
Well, I got a red dot on top.
Right. Which we'll talk about that in a second. Have you got this one? That's the L-can reticle you have? Okay. So, this is his L-can, or this is the reticle in his L-can, all right? I think you have 5 hashes on that.
Yeah.
I think so. In his L-can, I believe so, he's got 5 hashes in there. So he's going to hold in the center here, he's going to impact down here. How can he tell which one of these hashes he should use?
By going to the range and testing it?
He can test it. What else can he do? He just shot.
Hold it again and see where it impacts it.
Bam, right? Hold it here, see where his impacts were, select which one lines up with where his impacts are, and that's now his point of aim for close in. He has the reticle, he might as well use it, right? If any of you guys have reticles with predetermined hash marks, whether they're BDC for bullet drop compensation, whether it's something like the Strike Eagle, the Viper, this Steiner right here, any of you guys who have any kind of magnified low power variable or anything like that, you're going to have some type of hash marks that are going to tell you where to hold for your close range distance. So now you can say, look, if I'm in room distance, I don't use this, I might use this one, or whatever, right? Whatever it turns out to be. And that's going to change whether he's on 1 power, is that a 1-4? Whether he's on 1 power or 4 power. Right now, if he's on 4 power, he shouldn't be, right? This is a little too close for 4 power. But that's going to change, that point of aim, because those values change when he shifts back and forth between those measurements of power. Same thing with any of you guys with low powers, unless you're rocking a first focal plane, which I think all you guys are probably second focal planes.
These are second. This one.
I think pretty much almost all of them are, except for just a couple on the market. So a second focal plane optic, what's that?
I have both today. This is second.
That's second, right?
There's
Yeah.
one,
Got a first
there's one back
focal
in the
plane
truck
on
that's
spare
first.
carbine.
But yeah, so there's not a lot of low power variables that are first focal plane, meaning the reticle adjusts with the magnification of power. Second focal plane means the reticle stays the same with the magnification of power. So if the reticle stays the same and you magnify or reduce or increase magnification, that's going to change the value of those hash marks. So remember that, right? What this thing means at 1 power is not what it means at 6 power, 2 power, 3 power, 4 power, whatever it may be. All right? So figure out what those hash marks are, and you can just, here in a second, we run this exercise again, you can literally just look, and it will tell you, and you go, oh, so this is where I aim when I'm in room distance. I want to shoot the dude in the head, I aim here. I want to make a small percentage hit, I aim here. I want to shoot the guy in the chest at room distance, I aim here. You want to start getting yourself in the habit of, as soon as you breach that room distance, and we're going to find out here in a minute exactly how far back we can go to maintain our holdovers and when it stops being an issue. All right? Everyone's going to be different depending on where you zero, which we'll talk about here in a second as well. But as we start moving back and we start working this process, and you guys are looking at this, it's up to you to determine, okay, now we don't really need the holdover anymore. We just aim, point of aim, point of impact close enough, we can make it work. Who's got a reticle different than this? Or a regular red dot? What do you got, John?
Just my MRL.
What's a red dot, right?
Yeah, you said a different reticle or just a red dot.
Or just a red dot. Anything different than a red dot or what do you got?
I got the carbine from those ACSS kind of donut reticle.
Okay, cool. So
converted
good old
donuts.
ACSS dots, right? So that's it's a U? Or
It's
is
a,
it donut?
it's a open at the bottom.
Okay. So it does this, right? And then it does this, right?
It's got some dots down there that I can't see with my shitty eye.
Okay.
Get a better eye, Matt.
So sometimes you'll end up with all kinds of different reticles, right? Reticles like this. You'll end up with actual donuts like the old EOTech. A lot of times when you're ending up with reticles like this, everything in a reticle means something. They didn't just throw that shit in there, all right? They didn't just make it to make it. Everything means something. So learn what it is, because I could do the next hour on reticles, okay? But to keep it really basic, let's think about an EOTech for a second, all right? This EOTech generally represents 65 minutes of angle. What is 1 minute of angle at 100 yards? 1 inch, all right? So how many is 65 minutes of angle? 65 inches. So how big is your average male combatant?
5'8".
Yeah, around 5'8" to 6 feet, right? Which is how many inches?
65 to 70, or
Between
68 to 70.
Yeah, between 65 and 70 inches is your average male combatant. Gee, I wonder why they made it 65. Because that means if I have a dude standing here and his whole body takes up the whole reticle, roughly how far away is he? 100 yards. If you had a 50 or 100 yard zero, where should you hold? Yeah, dead center and freaking send it, right? What if I have that same circle, all right, and half his body takes up the reticle? He's 50 yards away, right? If I'm not shooting yet, I should really think about it, because he's pretty freaking close, okay? What if I'm here and only half the reticle is taken up by his body? He's about 200 yards away, right? So again, everything means something. There's a reason that these reticles became so popular in the military with the EOTechs, all right? Regardless of all the political bullshit that's going on with EOTech, all right? Regardless of all that, the reticles themselves are really useful, and there's a lot of companies out there using reticles like this. Now, they don't all equal 65 minutes of angle, but that's something that's particularly important. And there's another reason they selected 65 minutes of angle. Guess what the bottom of the circle represents?
Mechanical offset.
Mechanical offset at room distance, which means if I'm clearing buildings with my EOTech and I want to make some good small percentage hits, like I got to head shoot people, or I got hostages, or I got some situation like that where I can't make mistakes, I use the bottom of that EOTech reticle inside a building and just literally aim with the bottom of the reticle. And a lot of you guys will see that if you have that style of reticle in your gun. The Vortex UH-1, the AMG, they're kind of EOTech type reticle. The ACSS reticles, basically you're aiming here. Some of them you're aiming here. Just depends on, you got to figure out what it is depending on the reticle. But again, everything in a reticle means something, right?